So May 2nd, we have an election coming up. The videos have been out now for a while, full of young, trendy people telling you to get up there and just vote. Just vote. I thought I'd make my own video to encourage you guys to get out there on May 2nd and enjoy your lives. And ignore this ridiculous exercise called voting. You don't care about voting. You don't care about voting spontaneously. And you will be moralized to, and probably have been in the last few weeks, saying that the reason for your apathy is laziness or stupidity or simple-mindedness or a lack of empathy for your fellow Canadians. But I'm going to tell you that this empathy comes from an honest gut feeling that there's something slimy, there's something unsettling, there's something uneasy about putting your allegiance behind these people. Maybe it's the fact that you know somehow that they have been bought long before you've heard their names. That the fact that you know their parties and their logos and their statements, that you know what kind of facial hair they have and their mannerisms is because of the effects of bribe money. Because when you see them on TV, that television spot is paid for by campaign contributions, which is bribe money from special interest groups. You don't care about the election, and the politicians don't care about you at all. At all. At all. Do we need another G20 to hammer in this fact? They don't care about you at all. They will decide what they will do with your future productive labor at a summit like the G20 behind closed doors with the other farmers of the world, and they will spend $1 billion of your dollars to ensure that you are not allowed to participate. You are not allowed to listen. You are not allowed to send a representative to listen for you. You are not allowed in the building that they're talking about you, or outside, or on the other side of a wall they've constructed just to hold a meeting about what they're going to do with your future productive labor. You are not allowed in a park, blocks away from a wall that's blocks away from the building in which they're talking in secret about what they're going to do with your labor. And if you do sit there on the grass and wonder what's going on, they have no problem sending thousands of men in black uniforms to spray you with rubber bullets and mace and charge down on you with horses. I mean, watch the videos. I'm not a crazy person. I'm not making this up. They don't care about you at all. And when you put their banners in your windows and on your lawns, it's a sort of pathetic groveling. I mean, listen, it comes from a good place. I don't want to be super critical. It comes from a good place. Those that are really into politics are among some of the most intelligent people that I know that really do care. But I'm telling you, you are campaigning for people that don't care about you at all. You may be interested to change things like the war in Afghanistan. The war in Afghanistan was voted for by every major political party, including the NDP. It didn't matter who you voted for. We would be in Afghanistan. And in the coming election, it does not matter who you are going to vote for. We will stay in Afghanistan. Sure, Jack Layton says that we will redefine the mission, whatever that means, and we will withdraw our troops at some time in the future, which is a joke as far as promises go. I mean, they never called it a war or an occupation. They called it something else, and now they're going to call it something else later. But the fact remains, it does not matter who you voted for in the past or who you voted for, who you will vote for on May 2nd. The war in Afghanistan will remain. The war in Afghanistan is proof that we do not live in a democratic country at all, because we know that most Canadians do not support the war in Afghanistan. And if those who did support the war in Afghanistan were forced to fund the war, not forced, if they believed that the war was useful and therefore they should fund it themselves, it would not exist. It would not exist at all. It would not exist until tomorrow morning. We know the war in Afghanistan exists because it is totally involuntary and the state has our money by force every paycheck. And it doesn't matter what we say at all. You may be concerned about the budget. The budget, my friends, is irrelevant. The national debt does not exist. You do not owe a national debt. You do not owe a national debt to anyone. The idea is as ridiculous as a man coming up to you on the street and saying to you, allow me to introduce myself, sir, my name is Jack, I've been representing you, I have taken out some loans from international bankers in China and India using your future productive labor as collateral, and it fell through. So you're on the hook for several tens of thousands of dollars that I know you can't pay off now, but you will pay off for the rest of your life. It is totally ridiculous. What would you say to a man who told you that on the street? What would you say to a government who tells you that? Why is it different? What is the difference? You have no contract with these people. You have no contract with these people. You do not owe tens of thousands of dollars for being born by accident on a piece of land or being chased here by a worse government. It is mythology. It is pure mythology. This idea, and I know I'm going to hear it, of a social contract is part of this mythology. There is no social contract. A contract, clearly, is a voluntary agreement between two people that is bilateral. A social contract is involuntary and unilateral. If a social contract can be called a contract, then rape can be called a contract. But clearly rape is not a contract. Rape is a non-contract, or perhaps a social contract. You do not owe a national debt. It is pure mythology, just as the social contract is pure mythology. That's why you studied it in school. If you went to liberal arts school like I did, and like I believed in all of this stuff before I sort of uneducated myself. It takes a lot of education to believe something that's totally ridiculous. They want your vote on election day. They want your vote. These ads do not tell you to vote for any particular thing. They say just vote. Just vote, which is a very strange thing because they say that you should vote and simultaneously that voting is really meaningful and it really matters. If voting really matters and is really meaningful, then the last thing you want to do is encourage people to vote spontaneously. The contradiction makes sense in a way, just as the contradiction that politicians want you to get out there and vote. But when it comes to any sort of real change, like talking with other countries at G20, they are scared shitless that you will listen to what they're saying about you. The contradiction all makes sense. Voting is not meaningless. Voting is buying into this mythology that you owe money to a national debt. That's 90% compound interest. This is mythology. You were born a free person. You have nothing to do with these people at all. They are strangers. The mythology that you are bound to contribute your labor to stuffing the guns of strangers you've never met, to kill strangers you've never met in a country you've probably never been to, is mythology. It is mythology. It doesn't even matter if you voted and the other party that was against the war or for the war won. It doesn't matter. It is still totally immoral. It is still totally immoral. We are bound to the state through mythology. And the reason they want your vote so badly, the reason they want you to vote thoughtlessly without any care of what you're voting for, is they want you to give them your moral authority. Voting is really important. It really does matter. But it doesn't matter who you vote for. When you put your X on the ballot, you are signing away your right to dissent. You are signing away your right to complain. You are giving them your authority. These videos that are on YouTube, on Facebook, are telling you that voting has reached lows that it's never seen in decades. That's fantastic news. I hope it reaches 20%. I hope it reaches 10%. Because when it reaches 10%, when it reaches 5%, the state will be seen for what it is. The state will be seen for what it is, and we will see violence without the cloak of mythology. On May 2nd, go out there, enjoy your life, talk to people about how you can affect real change, and ignore this ridiculous spectacle called the federal election. Thank you very much.